This is my summer uniform that I was discharged in June of 1946.
That makes that shirt how old?
61 years ago. This shirt is over 60 years old.
He's not Jack Kevorkian, but the man who is named Oregon's most dangerous doctor, Dr. Philip Leveque, is equally notorious in his own right as an outspoken advocate of medical marijuana legalization.
I have signed over 900 now.
But who is Dr. Leveque? His story begins long ago on the battlefields of France and Belgium during a period in World War II that claimed tens of thousands of his fellow American soldiers. It was around the time of the Battle of the Bulge, as U.S. soldiers fought ferociously against the armed forces of Hitler's Third Reich. Philip Leveque was 19 years old the day he captured 26 German officers.
Well, this was about 6 weeks before the end of the war. The main attack was down in the bottom of a valley where the main road was, but my group was up at the top, coming in from the side of the town, and Captain Otterbein, my captain, said, Leveque, you and Brannon check out that house over there, which was about 50 yards away or something like that. And fortunately, it had quite a few trees, so we went into the trees, and then we leapfrogged from tree to tree, and they were about foot or so in diameter, so you hide behind them, a matter of speaking. So I got up to the last tree, and I told Brandon, I says, cover me, I'm going to run for the corner of the house. I ran past the door and the window, and through the window I could see gray uniforms inside, and I knew there was a whole bunch, but I couldn't count them. So I just stopped there. What am I going to do next? Clump, 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 clump. Somebody walks up to the door and opens the door, and it was a German captain, and I had my rifle poked right under his chin. And so I asked him in German how many soldiers there were in there. He says 26. And so then I asked him in German, do they have weapons? No. And I didn't believe that at all. There were two of us. What were we going to do with 26 prisoners, and especially whether, if not, they had weapons? I gotta take this dude over to the captain and find out what we're going to do next. And so I marched the captain over with my gun pointed in his back. We went over there and got over there, and he gave him a Heil Hitler salute. And I said to Captain Otterbein, I says, shall I give him a butt stroke? And he said, nah, what's going on? I says, he says there's 26 officers in that house. And the captain looked me up and down like this, and you lying so. So he says, I'll send you half a squad to guard them, 6 people. I said, that's great.
After World War II, Philip Leveque was accepted by the Oregon Medical School, and so began his years of education, leading to an esteemed medical career that led him around the world.
I got my PhD in pharmacology and toxicology in 1954, and I was an instructor at the medical school, and I was an instructor and assistant professor at the dental school, and then my first real job was at the Medical College of Georgia, 3,000 miles away. When I left Portland in 1955, I told my mother I'd be back in 2 years. It took me 22 years to get back home here.
Dr. Leveque left behind a legacy, having helped establish some of the first practicing doctors in third world areas.
I was invited by the University of London to teach in Africa. I was in Africa and Uganda and Tanzania, and I helped train the first doctors in Tanzania.
Even the earliest facet of his medical career included an encounter with the natural substance he would later come to advocate, a plant that's use is legal for tens of thousands of medical patients in the United States alone.
The first job that I had in the department, the chairman says, Leveque, go into the stock room, if you can straighten it out, make some kind of order. Well, one of the first things that I found was a gallon jug of cannabis cough medicine. It had been 13 years since there was a law that it was illegal to have any kind of cannabis, any place, anywhere, anything. And So I says, well, it says cannabis cough medicine. It was manufactured by Park Davis Pharmaceuticals. And so I poured myself a pint of it and I brought it home. And it's probably out in the barn here someplace. I haven't seen it in years, but it's probably out there. But it worked. I ended up with about 30 severe chronic pain patients, which no other doctor wanted to take care of. And so I had, in addition to being a physician, I'm also a professional toxicologist, and I've been in court over 400 times as an expert witness. And I, just like I say, I thought I knew how to treat patients with chronic pain, and I'm still convinced that I do, and I did, and so forth. But the insurance company lawyer says that I was over-diagnosing, over-treating, and overcharging. And so in 1986, the Board of Medical Examiners suspended me for 10 years because I was taking care of too many chronic pain patients, which nobody else wanted to take care of. So that was quite an insult to my character, because I felt that I knew as much pharmacology and therapeutics as any doctor, any place. And somewhere between 10 to 20 million people use it almost on a daily basis when they can get it. Now, this whole business of it being addicting is crazy. It's not addicting. It's less addicting than Starbucks coffee.
As a new service of SalemNews.com, Dr. Philip Leveque is going to begin taking questions and providing expert answers about medical marijuana and other toxicology issues, including those that want to learn more about cannabis as a medical treatment.
People want to know, will marijuana help my medical condition? And I think after seeing 6,000 patients, I know what conditions it will help and which probably won't. But the strange thing of it is that some of the pharmacology textbooks from 75 years ago say that marijuana is a euphoriant, and it's habit forming. Euphoria makes you feel good. What's wrong with feeling good? And I think that in most instances regarding the pharmacology or therapeutics of cannabis is that it makes people feel good. Now, 20 or 30 years ago, they used to take amphetamines or Dexedrine, or nowadays they use methamphetamine, which really gives them a euphoria. So it works well for that, and it's anybody that says it's dangerous is crazy. It's not. I mean, the worst side effect is if you overdose, you'll sleep 24 hours. But some of my patients says, well, I overdosed one time and I went to sleep in front of the refrigerator. So it's probably the least harmful drug that's ever been used by man, probably so. And that includes alcohol, nicotine, aspirin. Aspirin kills several thousand people a year in the United States, and even caffeine can kill a person. If I don't know it, nobody else does either. And the fact of the matter is, I have written a cannabis pharmacology book, and I have used the reference. I read over 400 articles to put my book together. If it's not in my book, it ain't no place else either. It just isn't. And I say that on this basis, that I am a physician who has treated for marijuana between 4,000 and 6,000 patients, but I'm also, I believe, the only professor of pharmacology who is treating patients. You're either talking about it or you're doing it. I'm doing it.
If you have questions for Dr. Leveque regarding toxicology or medical marijuana, write to askdoc@salem-news.com. In Salem, I'm Bonnie King, reporting for SalemNews.com.